Here's 5 things I learned as a foreigner living in Lithuania, January 2026. Number 1, kids still have to go to school until it gets down to minus 20 degrees C. And that's if you're in primary school. If you're in high school, it's minus 25, which for me, as someone from the UK, is absolutely insane. I mean, I come from a country where if it even gets down to 3 degrees, 2 degrees, we're putting on thermals, layers, and even thinking if it's worth leaving the house. Here in Lithuania, minus 15, minus 20, life goes on as normal. People continue about their business and go about their day with no major changes. Whereas if we take the UK, for example, on the day I was due to travel back to Lithuania, it was around 0, below 0, and Liverpool airport was closed because of snow on the runway. All of the trains were delayed or cancelled. I had to get a friend to take me to a different train station to go to a different airport, and then I got the flight to Lithuania, landed in Vilnius, where it was blizzard conditions, 2 foot of snow, and nobody seems to notice. And as usual, the infrastructure here, excellent. Buses still running on time, sweepers out, gritters out. By the morning, streets clear, walkable, no issues. The UK could learn a lot from Lithuania. Number 2, your best friend is your bee buddy, or bičiulis, which comes from the Lithuanian word bitė, meaning bee, bumblebee. And I think it's a lovely, lovely term, which relates way back to ancient times, where beekeeping was this sacred and important activity. So families would work closely together to keep the beehives going and look after the bees. So at that time, your best friend was your beekeeping partner. And now your best buddy is known as your bičiulis. And number 3, the government are now making it mandatory for foreigners working here in the service industry to learn the Lithuanian language. Now, the only thing is, Lithuanian, very interesting language. However, famously, one of the most difficult to learn. Also, one of the oldest languages in the world. So foreigners are now in a bit of a predicament where they have a relatively short space of time to learn a very difficult language, pass the tests, in order to continue living and working here. We will be doing a longer video on that because it's a very interesting topic with a lot to cover. But the main things are, number 1, it's not necessarily clear at the moment on how it will be assessed or put into place. Number 2, it's also not clear if there is funding or free courses available for foreigners, which seems an interesting one because are you in a position where language courses can now charge whatever they want and foreigners have to pay it? Interesting. And number 3, is it being done for the right reasons or is it a good idea? For me, as someone from the UK, which has become a very large multicultural country where things like language or integration in general hasn't necessarily gone smoothly or is definitely having some speed bumps, I'm very interested to see how things can be done differently in places like Lithuania, which is now starting to open up more. So are things like mandatory language learning a good thing? Because really it's forcing foreigners into doing what they should maybe be doing anyway, which is to invest in the country, learn the language, make sure they can communicate properly with locals. As I say, a very interesting one. It would be good to get some comments on that, and we will be doing a longer video. Number 4, on a lighter note, I saw my first ever Lithuanian woodpecker, which actually happened whilst I was on a team building hike. Now in the UK, team building normally involves doing an escape room challenge, going for some beers, probably eating some cold pizza. However, in Lithuania, especially in Vilnius, with some of the fantastic nature you've got on your doorstep, you might be doing things like kayaking or bike riding, or in this case, hiking through some of the most stunning wintry scenery I'd ever seen, and even going on a frozen river. And while we were there, managed to see my first ever Lithuanian woodpecker, which is also called a genis, which can be interpreted as a sign to keep on going and be persistent, just like the woodpecker. Now, I also wanted to bring it up because the woodpecker is called genis, which is also the name of one of the best breweries in Lithuania. They do Californicatia, which is an American pale ale style, and it's one of the most popular beers here. And number 5, some sports news. This is a country of basketball, but football, or soccer, is beginning to make a comeback. I was at a really interesting event for Vilnius FC Žalgiris, who now have some new money, some new blood, and hopefully a new stadium. Now, the local joke is that they've been getting a new stadium for a long, long time. However, now seems to be the real thing. I don't think I'm allowed to say very much, but it seemed very interesting. And there's a lot of things in the works to now fully embrace the football or soccer side of things as well. So there's 5 things I learned as a foreigner living in Lithuania at the start of 2026. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Long-time subscribers, etc. I've taken feedback on board, so I'm now going for landscape YouTube shooting and nicer, longer form content. I hope you find it interesting. If you've got any notes or if you've got ideas for what we could do for 5 things next month, please comment. And I'd be really interested to hear as well what people think about the new rules for foreigners learning Lithuanian. So as I say, feel free to comment. Thank you very much.